Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're unpacking a really foundational book in personal finance, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We've gone through a pretty detailed review of it, and our goal here is to pull out the key insights for you. Give you a shortcut, really, to understanding its impact. The core of it, as you probably know, is Kiyosaki's story. He contrasts his poor dad educated, followed the rules, sought job security, with his friend's rich dad who taught him about money and investing very differently from a young age.
Yeah, and the review we looked at really highlights this. It's not just positioned as a how-to finance guide. It's framed much more as a fundamental mindset shift.
The mindset shift.
Exactly. It's about changing how you actually perceive wealth, work, even education itself. It wants to rewire your financial thinking.
That makes sense. That focus on mindset seems key.
Yeah.
So digging into the review, what makes the book click for so many people? Why does it resonate so much?
Well, the review points strongly to how accessible it is. Kiyosaki uses, easy to understand principles, and he illustrates them with lots of anecdotes and real-life examples, things that are memorable. Plus, that contrast you mentioned between the dads, it creates this really inspiring narrative, just pulls you right in. It makes complex stuff feel, well, maybe not easy, but graspable.
Right, that narrative structure sounds really effective. And thinking about that mindset over money idea, what's the absolute core lesson the book is trying to hammer home? The reviews seem quite clear on this.
Ah, yeah. The big one is, don't work for money, make money work for you.
Catchy.
It is catchy, but the review stresses it's about a concrete strategy. Focus on acquiring assets that generate passive income.
Okay, so things that earn money for you.
Exactly, like rental properties, businesses, stocks that pay dividends, stuff that puts money in your pocket, ideally without you actively trading time for it. It's a direct challenge, really. The book basically asserts that financial education is more valuable than traditional schooling when it comes to wealth building.
Wow, that's a pretty bold claim against the usual advice, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Challenges the whole go to school, get a good job mantra head on.
Okay, so it's inspiring, challenges norms, but the review didn't give it a completely free pass, right?
Right.
What were some of the criticisms? Where does the book fall short, according to the review?
No, definitely not a free pass. The review mentions critics often find it, well, light on practical steps. It tells you what to aim for, but maybe not exactly how to get there step by step.
Like not an investment guide.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Also, there's some repetition of core ideas, which, can feel a bit much for some readers. And probably the biggest criticism highlighted is this sense of oversimplification.
Oversimplification.
Yeah.
The review touched on that, potentially not applying to everyone. What's the thinking there? Why do critics say that?
Well, the argument is that the advice, while motivational, sometimes seems to ignore economic realities for many people.
Okay.
Like if you're dealing with significant debt or just struggling to make ends meet, the idea of simply going out and buying assets can feel, well, pretty disconnected from your reality.
Yeah, I can see that. A bit daunting.
Exactly. So the review suggests it's maybe more like a compass pointing you in a new direction, rather than a detailed map for the journey, which can be great or maybe frustrating depending on where you're starting. But that said, even with those criticisms, it's still often praised as a really eye-opening introduction to thinking differently about money. Its value is often just sparking that initial shift.
Got it. So it sets a direction, sparks a thought process. If we boil it down further, what's one huge takeaway message the review emphasizes beyond just assets and income?
I think a really powerful idea the review pulls out is this. Kiyosaki argues that fear and ignorance are the two biggest obstacles to financial freedom.
Fear and ignorance.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not just about financial literacy, but also about tackling the emotional and psychological stuff that holds people back financially.
And how does the book suggest overcoming that fear and ignorance helps achieve financial freedom? What's the connection there?
Well, overcoming them is presented as crucial because it allows you to actually use financial knowledge to make informed choices, take calculated risks, instead of just being stuck, paralyzed by fear of the unknown or just following the same old path without questioning it. It's about empowerment, really.
That makes sense. So ultimately, the review seems to position Rich Dad, Poor Dad not as the definitive how-to guide for wealth.
No, not at all.
But more as something that plants seeds of curiosity and ambition, especially if you're new to managing money or thinking about it in this way. The core message seems to be, as the review puts it, pretty straightforward. Financial freedom starts with financial knowledge.
Absolutely. Which leads to a final thought, maybe for you listening. Considering the book's whole emphasis on fundamentally changing your thinking about money, What's maybe one common financial assumption, one piece of standard advice that you might challenge in your own life after hearing about this deep dive? Something to mull over.